Welcome to the Unleashed Potential Podcast, the number one Australian podcast brought to you by your hosts, Omar Hassan, Umar Elmi, Abduljabar Haji, and myself, Abduljabar Jama. We discuss both meaningful and everyday topics, so sit back, relax, and enjoy our conversation as we share our experiences.
What's going on, everybody? This is another episode of the Unleashed Potential Podcast. We are sitting on episode number 59.
59, yeah.
59, yeah. Man, you lose track because every time we record on a weekly basis. So, I don't know, like, it's just...
Yeah, it just goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's just routine now. So, like, seeing you guys on a Sunday is just like a regular... It's like going to work every day. It's just a regular.
Don't make it sound that bad. It's like going to work. No,
hey, you get paid when you get to work, man.
Yeah, you do, man. You do. But unfortunately, we don't get paid for this, so...
Nah, we do get paid, man.
Yeah.
We get barakah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, in the afterlife, inshallah.
Inshallah.
It's that delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we get, man. So I'm sure the audience may have noticed by now that Haji is not here at the moment, and he's still away dealing with some personal stuff. So everything is good, alhamdulillah. But I still catch up with him on a regular basis as well.
Yeah. I see him now and then, give him a call. I actually saw him last week as well. We got dinner together.
Yeah. He's going to be jumping back on sooner rather than later, inshallah. The other one is Elmi. Yeah. He's working remotely at the moment.
Yeah, man. He's flying in, flying out.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so he'll be away for a little while.
He will be away for a little while, but inshallah, you'll definitely be seeing us, me and Jabbar, and you might see some new faces and some very familiar faces as well, like Guled might be jumping on board.
Been a while.
Yeah, we need to get him back on, man.
Yeah,
we need to have a chat with him. How was the wedding? I know you guys went to a wedding yesterday.
On Saturday, yeah.
Day before, yeah.
Yesterday. It was good, man. It was so it was a friend of mine, not a very close friend. One of those friends you see every now and then, but you know the vibes are really good every time you see him. It's positive, you're having fun. And I think we caught up a couple of times in the last few months, and he's been telling me, I'm getting married soon, that once the date is final, I'll let you know, And we randomly bumped into each other 2 weeks ago, and he's like, hey, man, this is the date, here's the invitation, like you got to come, Yeah. And I was like, yeah, no worries. So we came through, it was good, we ate, we had a good time. Then afterwards, we got some desserts, and then yesterday was just such a good day. Like, it was one of those days you can't waste. You had to do something.
Yeah, it was like a sneak taste of what summer's going to be like.
Yeah.
Packaged in like a beautiful package with a little bow on top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how beautiful the weather was. It was like a crisp 23 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, with a little breeze coming through.
A little light breeze, and it just felt like summer. Like you could wear a t-shirt out and not feel cold and not feel, I don't know. Like it was so perfect, beautiful, man.
Yeah,
mashallah.
One of our mates, he bought an electric scooter. So, he was showing off the electric scooter, and you're like, we normally go bike riding, and the place we go hire it, they have electric bikes as well. So you're like, should we go, like, to the city around the river and go ride? And, all the boys were down, like, so we went through, we had, like, a great day, got food afterwards. It's just one of those, like I said, you couldn't waste it. You had to do something, and every time we did something, it's like, the day's not over. We have, we have to do something again and again and again. Alhamdulillah, it was good, man.
MashaAllah, man. So just to put it out there, we don't have a specific topic this week. We figured since it's just going to be me and Jabbar, we just, we'll have a conversation. I haven't seen him all week. So, just a little catch up, and maybe you guys can be like a little fly on the wall just listening to our conversation. It might be fruitful. It might actually be educational, the conversation that we have, or it might just be straight banter and nothing happens. Nothing happens.
But firstly, we were prepared for today. Right? It's not like we just came now like we're not going to do anything. It's just that Elmi, alhamdulillah, good for him. He had an opportunity that popped up, a small window, and he took advantage of it. So we were like, of course, go do it. So it was like a last minute thing. So that's why we're like, should we continue with the episode? But it was the topic we decided on was so good. Having a third person there
to weigh in.
Yeah. We're like, might as well scrap that and just have
and maybe leave it for next week or the week after.
Yeah.
So, so you're just going to be listening to us. So it might either be a waste of 30 to 40 minutes or it might be a useful 30 to 40 minutes. Either way, listen in.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about, man?
Wallah, to be honest, man, one thing that I was scratching my head at today is because I went to, this is the second time that it happened. I went to a restaurant and I saw one of the, I can't say Somali because I've seen other ethnicities, but the ones that I usually pay attention to would be the Somali and the Ethiopian mothers.
Okay.
And they're the ones that are in their late 30s, late 40s, you know, the type to be considered stay-at-home mums, you know. And I see them walking into restaurants and they're picking up Uber Eats to go.
Yeah.
And at first when I encountered it, I was like, oh, you know, this is someone that's actually, you know, keen to work, someone that's actually keen to do something, you know, beneficial with their time other than just staying at home and being an actual stay-at-home mum. The second time that it happened, I started to notice that it was starting to be like a trend, you know. And then I spoke to my wife about it, and I spoke to my mother-in-law as well. And they said, no, this is something that a lot of the ladies are doing now. You know, the Somali mums and the Ethiopian mums and the Eritrean and, you know, Sudanese mums. And what they do is they sign up for Uber Eats and they get either their daughter or their son that's actually there.
To drop it off.
Well, yeah, their son or daughter would be at a reasonable age.
Yeah.
But if their son or daughter is not available, then they themselves would do it. So it's not like they're putting them in any danger or anything. But and they're overseeing anyway. They're right there and they're looking at the door, you know. But what they do is they get their child or themselves to actually go and deliver it and everything, and they get paid. What I liked about that was just their hunger and their willingness to actually learn and to work and to go out there and actually try a new system. Because you think about it, right? If you've traveled to a new country, your language barrier is the first barrier that you would encounter. Once you overcome that, and even then, like enough to just get by, right? Your English level, I would assume most of them were, because I know them, right? Or I've seen them around. I know for a fact their English level is not 100% native, right? It's not fully 100%, right? But they're doing it at a level where they still progress and they still do it, and they still learn the ways of Uber and understanding all the requests that come in and following the instructions and actually going in and like to do that, like just imagine the hunger and the drive, and then not even that, like to tie in the family and making it seem like, you know, I'm not the only one that's going to be struggling. Everybody in the family is going to understand what hard work is. Everybody is going to chip in. Everybody is going to, you know, get this taste of working hard for your money and actually benefiting from your own hands. But
it's been like, honestly, it's been before Uber as well. Because you think about the childcare system, it was like one or two families, one or two people that took the initiative to do it, and then showed other people, you know, the aunties will come together like, oh, teach me how to do it. And then they'll show on the ropes, like you said, the procedures of how to get it done. And because my auntie actually does that. She does the Uber Eats. And this was like, when it started.
So I actually said it. And
it's 100% true. Because true, I was waiting for you to finish, because I was like, right at the beginning, my auntie was like, should I do it? And, you know, my mum was like, you know, it's dangerous, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. And it just took like one or two people to do it and then start making some money and start doing well. And then, you know, once it starts working right and the kids are involved, like you said, and it's kind of like another one will do it, another one will do it. And then now it's like you said, it's a thing. It's like, and it's awesome because like they'll drop the kids at school in the morning, then they'll work, you know, and because they have that period of time and they can do it anytime they want to. It's easy to make money. And it actually, like you said, with the English barrier, it helps them because if they're stay-at-home moms, then there's no reason for them to go out and use the language.
And force themselves.
You go to the store, you can see the money's just labeled there, you know, the pricing. You just go there, buy whatever you want to. You're not really dealing with people. And the only time they normally deal with people is like, you know, government or like bills.
That's right.
And then they'll put the son or the daughter right on the phone, like, hey, you know, talk for me. You know? But now the kids are at school, the parents are going out to work, and it's like now you're forced to, because you got to think about it. It's the same with the fathers as well. some of them came here not knowing English as well, but they went out, learned, and got the money. You know, the only difference between the ladies and the men was it was the men making the money. But now it's so easy for anyone to get a part-time job or a job where it's not required for full-time. The ladies are like, no, we can work too, and they're making money. And not just part-time. Like my mum had a cleaning business where she had like people working under her. And it started off as a small thing, and you know the kids, my brothers and stuff, working for her, and it kind of grew a little bit. And yeah, she didn't know English, she didn't know whatever it was, but like she learned, you know.
I love the fact that they were ready to take hold of that opportunity that came, because you contrast it between now and say 5-10 years ago, before Uber arrived, or before any of these delivery. Because I'm sure they had Menulog. I'm sure they had like other kind of delivery services. I'm sure restaurants themselves had one dedicated delivery driver that you could like. There's pizza like deliveries, pizza places, right? But those ones you had to actually apply through a CV and contact the manager, get an interview, and all of that. Now none of that.
Straight away.
Yeah, you apply online, you submit your documents, and you're already a driver. You see, that opportunity has never existed before other than now. Like, and the fact that they were like, yo, this is a great opportunity for us to be able to get into an industry and start making money of our own, you know? And the fact that there were some that were brave enough to actually take charge and actually lead, you know, by example, and actually go out there and not be scared to say, you know, yes, I understand there's dangers to it. But, you know, they overcame it by maybe taking someone with them, you know, that just sits in the car that sort of oversees it, you know. But I love the fact that they were able to just conquer that, you know, that frightness or that.
Someone needs to be the first one to go through it, you know.
And it just made it so easy that now anybody that basically does it would be like, well, so-and-so does it, so-and-so does it. Yeah. And it makes it automatically like, okay.
I think the best thing about it, like when you're comparing to like a pizza place, you're fighting for positions, you know. They're not going to have 100 drivers. They're going to have 1 or 2 drivers. So you're, like you said, you got to apply, you got to fight for it. With Uber and stuff like that, they'll take as many people as they can, you know. The more drivers, the better for them. So it's like anyone can get into it. So it's like, all right, now the work is based on your effort. Because when you're working at a pizza place, you're getting paid by the hour.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But now it's like, no. It's based on how much you want to put into it, how many hours you want to put into it. You're not locked into anything. And the fact that they're going out there, not just leading the charge, but they're managing their own business. Because being an Uber driver, you got to manage your time, work around the kids, finances, all that sort of stuff. So they're managing a business by themselves, you know, which is, it's a huge thing.
That's absolutely true. The time management thing. People think it's just a matter of, you know, jumping on and just, you know, earning some money for a few hours, clocking on, clocking off. It's not like that, because you really have to manage your time, know exactly how long it takes you to do all of these things. And these are individuals who have actual kids that have a family to raise, and, you know, they need to be present as well at home. So it's not like they've got plenty of free time. No, they're sort of juggling both things, you know.
But like you said, they're incorporating it both as well by taking the kids with them. And what that does is, firstly, they're seeing their parents work, so they'll get that work ethic, you know, that inspiration, And then secondly, like they're earning money, you know, and it's not like some random person that's paying them; it's their parents that's actually paying them, and they're working for their parents. So like it builds that family bond as well, which is a great thing, and more so than family, it's a community thing, like you said. One of the mothers or whatever is thinking about doing it, you know. There'll be people that's coming in to help. Always there'll be someone that they can call on and go, I know someone, or I've done it myself, and I'm going to guide you through it, you know. Like having that community amongst us is actually pretty rare, because we live here in this Western society, so obviously we know a lot of Westerners and people that are not from outside our culture, and you don't really see that much, you know, like where, you know, they kind of, it's more immediate family. The extended family isn't really like kind of like involved as much. Like I have coworkers, you know, they haven't seen their brothers in years or whatever it is when they get older and stuff like that. But with us, it's like that can't happen, you know. And on top of that, being Muslim, you know, you have to be part of that community. You have to go to the masajid, you know what I mean? Like Eid, Salah, stuff like that. Like it brings us everyone together.
Yeah.
So what it does is it makes it more of a communal thing. So it's easier to break that barrier. It's easier to move forward, you know. So it's like, it's amazing that they're actually going to do it and steamrolling it as well, because
bro, like
they're steamrolling it, man.
It's everywhere. Like I understand. Look, with everything, right? There's always a leader, and then there's some followers. initial followers, right? And then there's followers of those followers, right? So the leader is the one that basically sees the opportunity and capitalizes on it. No time wasted.
Yeah.
Jumps in, one of the first ones to jump in, and paves the way basically for all the others, for all the initial followers to actually say, well, if so-and-so can do it,
yeah,
I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the followers of the followers that actually say, no, that person, that initial person that did it, he or she was an exception,
yeah,
you know, like,
lucky,
got lucky or something like that. You know, there's two kinds of followers, yeah? The ones that actually see somebody else that leads and says, this person can do it, he's human, he's just like me, he's got a family, he's just like me, he does this, just like me, I can do it as well. And there's others that say, no, this person, and they look at the differences rather than the similarities. And then they say, you know, that's why he can do it and I can't.
Glass empty,
Exactly.
Glass half empty, yeah.
And the only time they will actually follow through and actually follow and take advantage of that opportunity is when they see numbers going in.
When it's a majority.
That's it. When it's already saturated.
But that's
also when they jump in.
There's also the ones that will see the initial success and push it further. You know, someone might get into a certain business and, you know, like with the childcare, you know, they were working at first and then they started owning. Then they started owning multiple, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one person was like, oh, if you can do it, you know, I can do it, but I can do it better.
I can do it better.
Yeah, you know, I can do it better, you know? Because, you know, sometimes you require that. You know, when you see that one kid that's, you know, not really that athletic and, you know, you're doing you're at school, first time doing some sort of like physical activity that everyone's nervous. Like you might be doing the high jump and you're like, I don't know if I can do that. And you see that less athletic kid go over it. You're like, oh, yeah.
And you're like, nah, I got this.
Raise it higher, I got this, you know? Like you give you that confidence to keep going forward. So like because this initial wave, it's the initial wave. So I'm waiting to see what goes on with it because, you know, they're going to further it somehow. Inshallah.
Yeah, but like it's you know, it's got to be something intrinsic, right? These people that cite these opportunities, you know, they have to be they have to be positioned in a way where they are ready to take advantage of any opportunity that comes. And that requires a lot of pre-work. Most people don't realize that. Like I'm sure the first few people that actually saw the opportunity of Uber either came from a background where their parents were just people that did not give up, that always found a way to make it work, or that understood the concept of having multiple streams of income rather than just having the husband working and the wife not working. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they saw that in this day and age that it's the both the husband and the wife that needs to work. And even then, if you want to get ahead quicker in life, sometimes you need multiple streams of income from that person. So don't just work, but also have a side project, or when you've got some free time, utilize it.
But it's not just that. Like initially, I remember when people were like applying for it, some people were like, yeah, I don't want to do that. They kind of felt embarrassed to do that sort of work, you know. So there might have been people out there that had no other option. They were like, you know what, I'm gonna take the risk, I'm gonna take the chance, what's there to lose, and then from then gain that success, you know. Because some people would have been like, oh, part-time job Uber, now I'm gonna look for a real job, you know what I mean? And that guy might have been applying, while this guy just jumped on Uber and started making money like straight away.
Yeah, and he's already 1 year ahead until you're able to prove to this person, look, just by doing this, I can literally make 400, 500 additional a week.
So sometimes it's putting away that pride and taking that risk as well. Yeah. Because, you know, sometimes you might not be prepared for a certain opportunity because the opportunity just came out of nowhere. You kind of got to risk it. Like there's plenty of stories where people, you know, will apply for the job and have like no background knowledge on it. You know what I mean? And they will still apply for it and then somehow make it through. You know what I mean? Because there's a chance that you apply, you get in and you get laughed at and you get kicked out. But, you know, you were out in the first place anyway, so it didn't matter. Sometimes people go in and then they find their comfort or they'll find their own way to make it, and then they'll end up like achieving like a lot. So sometimes you just got to take that risk. Like I have a lot of friends who we're a little bit older now, so we've had multiple like jobs and stuff like that. And I used to always tell my friends, like, when they're looking for a certain thing that they want in life, you know, and they're not ready for that yet, you know, you got to take every other opportunity as well. You know, some people are like, this is what I want, this is my goal. then they'll accept nothing less other than that goal.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
Rather
you got to
than
keep
try
like,
and step up towards it.
You got to work your way towards that. So like, oh, you want this sort of job, you want this sort of income. Don't just apply constantly for those. Apply for everything.
Yeah.
Get what you can first.
Yeah.
Have that stabilization. Learn from that while you're still reaching out.
Yeah.
Because then at least you have something. Half of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Absolutely.
You know?
No, I agree with that 100%. But yeah, like I said, man, that's the one thing that's been sort of like piquing my interest, and I've been wondering. I'm like, yo, I'm just curious about it, and subhanallah, it's nice to see, it's refreshing when you go into a restaurant and you see, like someone that could be your auntie or or your mum, they walk in and they're walking out with a Uber Eats, they're getting that money, they're not just sitting around idly doing nothing, and they're not sitting on the benefit or the government handouts. They're not waiting on that.
Yeah.
They're actually going out there, and they're taking advantage of these little opportunities that are available. And it's the same with, some people that are so like fixed and one-dimensional when it comes to like a line of work that you do, that they're not willing to sort of break free from that. There's people, for example, that say, look, man, I've got a graduate degree, I've got a bachelor's degree, or I've got a master's degree in this.
So I'm not gonna take anything less.
And I'm not, exactly. Whether it's, instead of saying, look, this is an opportunity where I can potentially make some money and have flexibility in my time, and at the same time be able to try and find my ideal role, right? And the other thing is, like, if you don't take it, right? If you don't take that Uber job, and you don't have your ideal role, what are you doing? You're sitting at home and not even wasting your time. You're actually asking the government for money. When you're able-bodied and you're willing to work and you're able to do all of these things.
The downside of that is you're not going to get that government money forever. Eventually, that's going to stop. You know what I mean? And so you have a choice. You can either be sitting on your hole, doing nothing for that time, or you could be building experience, gaining insight, gaining knowledge. Yeah. So when that government stops paying you and everything's kind of like back to normal, you're ahead of the curve, not behind it.
Yeah.
So like you got to always keep moving forward. You can't, expect others to always, get handed.
Yeah, and the key is like moving, right? Like you have to always find a way to push forward. Like it's not just jumping or trying to take long strides. Sometimes it's just baby steps. As long as you're moving forward and you're consistently moving forward, and you're not stationary in one place, then you're making progress. Yeah. Slow progress is still progress.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to walk a path where there's like thorns on the ground. You're not going to be running around. You're going to be going careful.
You're going to be cautious.
Because if you sprint, you're not going to be making it far. But like life is always like it's like a treadmill. You can keep moving forward, but eventually at a slow pace, you're going to be going at this nowhere. Because you're eventually always going to go back, because there'll always be some sort of obstacle in your life, so you always got to keep moving forward faster and faster. So, you can't just be sitting on your butt all day,
Yeah. And I the other aspect of it that sort of bugs me is the initial person that sort of decided, I'm going to jump into this. Where did they receive this communication? Who did they see first? Did they just decide to themselves, like, oh, Uber Eats has this. Why don't I try it? Or, did they have a chat to somebody that does it that's much younger? And then they thought, just because I'm older doesn't mean that I can't do it.
Could be even their children, if they got like a teenage child, like a, 90, someone with a driver's license, and they're doing it as a part-time job. And they're like, hey, mom, you can do this as well. You never know, like, where it could come from, honestly.
Man, yeah, that's interesting, man. What's been piquing your interest lately?
Honestly, lately, I have been literally just staying off social media, because staying off social media right now for us in Perth is way better than being on social media.
Why is that?
Because everything in social media right now is negative. Because everyone's either locked down, fires going on, something. And, obviously, you got to be in touch with everything. So once in a while, you got to see what's going on. Yeah. But, like, when I got texts from friends saying, let's go do this, I got all this stuff planned on during the day, I'm not going to sit there on my phone and I kind of get depressed. So
no, of course not.
So I was taking the most of this week, honestly. And even the times that when I was, like, been by myself and I had kind of like alone time, I would spend it outside the house. No matter what it was, I'll spend it outside the house. Like if I wanted to read a book, I'd go down to the beach and read the book, rather than just staying at home.
What's
Just
what's the latest book you've been reading? I'm going to quiz you on that.
The latest book I've been reading, I've been actually reading the Witcher series.
Is that non-fiction or fiction?
Yeah, it's fiction.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's have you seen the Netflix series of it?
The Witcher.
Yeah,
Oh,
Witcher.
yes.
Yeah.
They've got a game of it as well.
Yeah, so
I've
read. I remember reading the first 2 books when I was younger, when like the first game came out. Then I remember replaying the third game, which was kind of like the story, which was like one of my favorite games of all time. And then when the first, the Netflix series came out, I was like, you know what, I gotta put this all down on my list for, for something to read, because I read obviously both non-fiction and fiction. I like to switch it up from time to time, and that's currently what I'm.
What about autobiographies?
Autobiographies. The last one has been a while. I've been mostly reading historical kind of books. The last one I've been reading was wasn't even a book. It was like this long article by this journalist. It was about that family. I just started reading it. It's the family in Melbourne, the drug dealing family back in the day, the heroin one. Have you not seen it?
No.
It's the mother and the kids, and they're literally just drug dealers. So the way it started out was the mum had like 10 kids or something like that with like 3 husbands.
Right.
And so obviously she needed to like take care of the kids. So what she did was she started she went into prostitution, She started becoming a prostitute, and then told her oldest son that, oh, I'm your sister, not your mom, because she was kind of embarrassed, and then let him stay with the auntie, and saying that was the grandma and stuff like that. And so the kid was getting beat by the auntie as well. And so while she was doing like her line of work, she started becoming like more and more involved in like the criminal side of the things. And then her son, eventually he started going off the rails too, because he had like a traumatic childhood, getting beaten up and all that sort of stuff, and what his mom's been going through. So he ends up going to jail for quite a while for assault and rape, and then so his mom decides like that's the time where I kind of like gotta be with my son. So she's been there every week when he was in jail. Wow. So they develop this bond while they're in jail. So when they come out, he has connections through the jail. So he goes and gets heroin. And so him and his mom start cutting heroin and dealing. And then the other sons get involved. Yeah. And this guy, he starts shooting up. The cops trying to come. It was in Melbourne. I forgot what street it was. And he had the house all like barred up and locked up. He was getting raided. The cops couldn't get to him. Eventually he like saw that his mum. Like he saw that everyone around him, and he was like so high on drugs all the time. He actually went into he had a stroke, and then so when he had a stroke, he kind of like I think he died. If I remember, he died of an overdose, and that's how like he went out. He got caught for 1 murder charge, which I think his mum told on him. But other than so he went into a stroke. Went into the hospital. His mum was with him. He started to flatline, and so the nurses came in, and the mum was like, "Nah, don't do it. Like don't save him." Because the mum, like he started really going off the rails, because he bought his house right next to his mum's place, and there was one point where he was so high in the house, like he killed someone, shot him 6 times in the head, and then 6 times again in the head, then cut his throat open with a knife. Then goes to his mum's house next door, bangs on the door, tells his mum to clean it up, and his mum's like, because she was obviously a criminal, but the criminals have a code, and he was snitching as well on everyone else, and like he was paranoid, snitching on other drug dealers and all that sort of stuff. So his mum's like, all right, even for criminals, this guy's gone a little bit too far. So he was like, rather than him going to jail.
How bad do you have to be for your own mum to say criminals, are bad? But you.
They had she was talking about like a code. Like she got shot in the head, got skimmed in the head or whatever it was. And when she was in hospital, all the gang members in Melbourne will come and like leave flowers and have like their little name on it. And that flower was literally saying, it's a reminder, don't snitch. Don't talk to the cops, And she wouldn't, like she was like straight on the narrow. But once she found out what the son was doing, and the son was just like off it 24/7, to the point where he was I think he wasn't doing heroin, he was doing speed, and he was taking it every half an hour, to the point where his heart had pieces like coming off him, like literally he had a rare disease, heart disease, because of it, and then got a stroke. Because he's been using it, I think it was at the age of 35, and you see him like all skinny in a wheelchair and stuff like that. And it's pretty crazy. He was using
it from the age of 35?
No, that's when he died. He died at the age of 35. Yeah. So that's how And the reason why I got onto it was Dino got me onto it, because he was watching the Drug Lord series on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's like a documentary sort of 45 minutes.
Bro, I love those. I don't know, Netflix, their documentary series. The one that I tend to watch a lot is the Unsolved Murder Mysteries or something like that.
Yeah.
Just the first case pretty much got me hooked on it. I was like, yo, how can somebody just... Because it's about this guy that basically just leaves his house and he doesn't... He runs out of his house and the maid's sitting there and she watches him run out of his house, grab his keys, whatever, and then he disappears. It disappears, and his wife was actually at work, I think across the country or something like that. But it's just it was so crazy, that it was bizarre, that I was like, what the hell? I actually want to know how this ends, you know. And the thing is that it's unsolved, so you never really get the answer, right? But you can sort of speculate based off the evidence that they currently have.
About Carol Baskin's husband.
Yeah,
no one knows about that.
Yeah,
have you seen the prison shows?
Yeah, bro, I love the prison shows, man. The prison shows, it's amazing when you contrast between two different countries.
You're like, man, I don't want to be in America or Mexico and I get caught. I'd rather be in Sweden.
In Sweden, yeah.
I'd rather go to prison in Sweden.
The rehabilitation centers, yeah.
So, that's pretty much it. It's a rehabilitation, so they're not really like full prisons, you know.
Yeah, I mean the only punishment out of it that they get is the fact that they don't have their actual freedom.
Yeah, the isolation.
Yeah.
Like, they're not, like, in society.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. But that's the whole thing. You take them out of society because they're dangerous, and then you rehabilitate them so they can go back into society. What they do in a lot of other countries is, you're bad. They'll take them out, punish them by putting a bunch of criminals together.
Yeah.
And then, don't teach them any skills. When they're out in the world, you limit their abilities, and then you expect them to thrive. Where it's kind of like, come on, man. Like, as well, like other places, they'll teach you a skill. And there'll be places where in ex-cons and stuff can work and you can gain, you can work and gain a skill, whatever it is. In America, it's opposite. I remember when the California fires initially last year was going off, they were talking about majority of the firefighters were actually
ex-cons.
No, not ex-cons, inmates. So the inmates can slowly reduce their sentence and get paid like $1 a day.
By volunteering?
By volunteering and firefighting. So majority of the firefighting force is people in jail. And here's the thing, they'll get the most experience because they're in jail for a long time. They come out of jail and they're not allowed to become firefighters because it's a civil duty, work, and ex-cons are not allowed to do it. So stuff like that is like, come on, man, like, you're not really helping anyone. What do you think he's going to do? You put him out into the public, the skills that you gave him is gone.
That's what it is. It's slave labor.
Yeah. And then but the worst part about it is now he's out there. He's limited to all the work he can do. The skills that he does have, the limited skills because he's away from society that he does have, is not allowed to be used.
Yeah.
So the only thing he knows is what put him into prison in the first place. And you're kind of like, what do you do?
Well, it's the whole supply chain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's the whole recycling of it. So.
But it goes to show how different policies can really affect. If there's actual changes happen when certain policies are put into place, because if we just look at the prison ones we were talking about, in America especially, Australia here is kind of bad. It's not as bad as there, but it's not great. But when you look at certain countries, how right they're doing it, and when you look at the other countries and their excuses for not having done it the right way is, oh no, these guys are criminals, this is the way it's supposed to be done, this is the evidence we have.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, you say that, but when you look at the other countries, they're thriving way better than you are. And obviously, like you said, slave labor, you're making money. Like, what's the real issue?
Yeah, it's a supply chain, like I said, man. That's it. It's the whole cycle. It needs to come back to square one again. Mm-hmm. So you get them back into the prisons again, and you start that process again. That's basically what it is.
It gets even dirtier, man.
No, of course, I can imagine there's a lot more to it.
So there's another book I read about the prison system in America, and it talks about how the states and the prisons, because they're like private prisons, they literally work together. So for example, obviously, like how you said, they get paid, the state gets paid by the free labor, like making license plates and all that sort of stuff in prison, firefighting, all that sort of stuff. That's free labor. They make money from the people in prison. And obviously, so what they'll do is they want to keep people in prison longer and longer. So obviously the state, the police officers, for BS reasons, will take people, put them into prison for no reason. And then the people in prison, they have like 3 strike rules and stuff like that. They'll purposely give people 3 strikes to extend their sentence if not enough people are coming in, and the state will pay the prison for holding him in longer so they can make more money. So like you said, Pretty bad cycle.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Now, of course, I'm very aware of the prison system that they have in the States, man. It's terrible, man. A lot of things is quite terrible with the US and the way they govern their things. But subhanallah, alhamdulillah, we're living here. But man, seriously, this is I reckon we should just wrap it up here, because this conversation that we've had is enough for a lot of people to take a lot of messages that we had, you know.
Yeah.
Especially the first one that we discussed, you know, about the Uber thing.
Yeah.
Man, if I was to take away any message, right, is be prepared for any opportunity. Even if you think that it's not an opportunity, it most likely is. You look at, for example, coronavirus. A lot of people saw it as just something negative. Yes, it is negative, but it comes also with the opportunity of you know, what was the company that fumbled it, man? Skype fumbled it big time.
They could have hit it huge. Yeah,
they could have hit it really huge, man. But now Zoom came in and they were like, yo, this is a great opportunity for us as a company. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, a lot of bad things happened during coronavirus. Many people lost their lives. Yeah. Many people got sick. Many people lost their jobs and so on, and potentially even lost their ability to go out and get their freedom and so on. So their way of life has changed dramatically. But in saying that, I'm sure if you were fine, if you did not have anybody in your family that lost a life, if you yourself still retained your job, if you were still able to go out, especially like with us here in WA, and you're not taking advantage of the opportunities that coronavirus came with, I don't see how, you know, I don't understand it. You know, there's many opportunities that came with it, you know.
Well, that's true, but you know, there's people that always look for excuses, you know, for themselves to hold them
No,
back.
but like that's the message of this podcast, I suppose. It's like if the mothers were able to see an opportunity like Uber Eats and actually take it and go, yes, there were some risks with it, but they were able to just do it, right? You yourself, when you see an opportunity, if somebody says to you, hey man, I got this great job for you, bro, and you ain't doing nothing with your time, go
for it. Yeah,
go for it. You've got nothing to lose. You know, if you are working from home and you get more time with your family and you're able to better manage your time so that you've got at least 4 or 5 hours additional that you could have wasted through transporting yourself to and from work, even additional money because now you don't have to buy lunch out or any of these things. And you've got that time and that little bit of money to start a little side business, bro. Just do it. Like
not even side business. Like for example, if you're someone that is unable to work because of the coronavirus, and you know you're getting a check, and so you have a lot of free time. Yeah, learn a skill. Learn a skill, so eventually afterwards, you know, you can put it into use. You know what I mean?
That's something. Right. Absolutely. So just find those opportunities because they are there. Look for them and always be prepared to take advantage of it. Like just do it. That's just do it, I think that's I think you're wearing the right shirt for it too.
There you go, just do it. That's a final advice.
Man.
But yeah, so like mine would be pretty much mimicking what you're saying, is like take those opportunities. Like no matter how small it is, a small opportunity is better than no opportunity. Like you said, you know, go for what you can go for and hope for everything else, you know what I mean? So whatever's in reach, grab it, and then that will take you closer to what you want, you know? Yeah, and that's it.
Cool, man. I think we'll just leave it there. And to everyone else listening, thank you for either wasting your time or or benefiting your time. So I will let you be the judge, inshallah.
If they made it this far, you know.
If you made it this far, you know, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe, share, as always, and you know, pass the message out. Make the channel grow, and through your help, maybe inshallah you'll get some ajr as well. Through our efforts that we put here. That's it, I think.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And see you guys next week.
Assalamu alaikum.